world where your intellectual prowess allows you to build cathedrals and buildings and institutions, not having the spiritual development is what has created the degeneracy that you see going on in the society today. So leaving or fossilizing, or matter of fact, taking out the root of spirituality, giving people academic learning does not qualify you to act and to be by one another what we are, what we have to be. And this is why divine leadership is very important, because a person who is imbibed and who carries the Spirit of God is actually qualified to whatever knowledge that they bring to you. They're bringing it to you with the essence of what knowledge is supposed to be, or where it comes from the Creator. If you study mathematics, you study any science, and you leave the Creator out of it, you're void. It's void. It's a shell without a core. It's the symbol without the substance.
Yes,
so our job is to get into not only the academic learning or the intellectual learning, but to also qualify it with the spiritual aspect. And we have a man in our midst that we know is qualified. And what do we mean by qualified? When we say we have a man in our midst that's qualified to teach us like that. Qualification does not, there's a lot of intellectual, brilliant people. And I'm saying this because I want to give a prelude to the necessity of what's going to be talked about today. And there's a lot of people we have a lot of people, doctor's degrees, MDs, you know, MA, BA, BS, you know what I mean? We have a lot of that.
Right on. Sure.
But they're not healing the condition of our people right now. They're just espousing what they got that qualified them to stand in their position and get the money that they aspire to. Some people wanted to really teach, but most people that are teaching or in those positions are doing it because they want a higher quality of life. And they want to participate in the American lifestyle. They're not doing it because the essence of their purpose and their call and their genetic coding qualified them to do that. So if you're not in that state of moving from the creative essence of the creative being, the essence that Allah put in us, if you're not moving from that, that's not your purpose, that's not your aim, and you're not in line with the spiritual laws, you're not in line with the Creator's guidance, then even if you have all of that, it goes for nothing. And we can see that now. We got, like I said, we got giants, intellectual giants among us, but nobody's curing the problems. And the reason why I say it's important to have divine leadership is because when you deal with a man like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, you're dealing with a person who has faced every kind of condition that a people who hate themselves could put on him. If you're going to be a servant of a people, and you're serving the people who have the most hateful ways of thinking about themselves, and you still can serve those individuals, it takes a certain kind of human being to dedicate themselves to that kind of mission. And to be, Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is in his 70s. He been doing this before, when most of us wasn't even born yet. So he went through the phases where we was eating fat back and we was processing our head. He was around during that time in this mission. So going through all of the different phases that we experience as a people, and through each one of those phases still being in there, still serving, still living his life according to the Quran, still living his life according to the rules and regulations that God set down to help us become a better people. There's things in there that even if you intellectually understand subjects about Africa, or you intellectually understand subjects about the Middle East and the Kemetic science and all these other things, there's certain spiritual development that you're not qualified with. So if you can take not just a group or organization, but a nation of people, and serve that nation of people and produce some of the most outstanding leadership that exists for our people. You had to go through something to get there. And anybody that comes from that man's training is made aware of the things that we're not here, like I'm not standing before you because I want to be known or we want to have something, we just sitting around talking with each other. We are here because there's a need in the community to see it become everything that we know it should be. And we don't want to miss the opportunity of, number one, having a divine God in our midst, and number two, to to live in a time where there's a need and we just do what we got, we just doing us. And that's what we've been sentenced to generation after generation after generation. That's why we haven't gotten anywhere. Because everybody I just want my little piece of the pie, my nice car, my nice house, my little square inch of the earth. And we go on and do what we got to do for us. And then the community goes to hell and it sentenced the next generation. Not only, you might have had your little square for your little time, but now you sentence your children and your grandchildren to conditions that are worse. Because you didn't do your part in making the whole thing better.
Yes, sir. So
what we're doing is we're committing ourselves to a service to not just have a group or organization or a little religious gathering, because this thing is bigger than religion. Religion is just